If she's a Christian and you're a Christian, you have no right to divorce. This information is found with utmost clarity in 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Here in verse 10, to the married, he's talking to Christians who are married here, I give instructions, but not I, but the Lord. So this comes with the full authority of Jesus speaking through Paul. The wife should not divorce or leave her husband. Is that clear? If your wife is claiming to be a believer and she's an honest searcher for truth and trying to live the Christian life, then she has no right to divorce at all. You get over it. You work it out. That's clearly stated there. She should not leave her husband. But if she does leave, heaven forbid, she must remain unmarried or else get reconciled. So reconciliation is the name of the game here. If the husband or wife, where both parties are married, if they should, heaven forbid, leave, then there's no option for a remarriage. They're not divorced. They're still married, and therefore Paul says that one who leaves, which is a disaster, because counseling should have repaired that marriage by that time, then they're to remain unmarried and not marry someone else. That would be to commit adultery. This is a very serious issue. Now, Paul goes on to say that if it's a case that one of the parties is not a believer, in verse 12, to the rest, I, Paul, say, it's Paul's opinion, but it's scripture, that if any brother, that's a Christian believer, has a wife who's an unbeliever, and that would work the other way around. If you've got a woman who has a husband who's an unbeliever, vice versa, both ways around, then what are you supposed to do? And if she or he consents to live with him as an unbeliever, he must not divorce her. And the woman who has an unbelieving husband, and he, the unbelieving husband, agrees to live with her, she must not divorce her husband. That's very clear. For the unbelieving husband is, so to speak, made holy through his wife, and the unbelieving wife is made holy, sanctified through her believing husband. Otherwise, your children would be reckoned as unclean. Let's do verse 15. But if the unbelieving one, husband or wife, does leave, unbelieving, let him or her leave. In that case, the brother or sister, the believer, is not under bondage in such cases. I take that to mean that marriage is broken. I think if you're not bound, as Paul says, then you would be free to remarry. That's only on condition that the one who leaves is an unbeliever. For two believers, there is no right to remarriage. I hope that's pretty clear. And most evangelical scholars would go along the lines that I've suggested there.